UAV
Just because
online.
you hate your job doesn't mean your job is hard. When I worked, dude, chat, I used to work one of the hardest jobs on planet Earth, bro. I was working hard, bro. Like, it took a lot of mind power and brain power and a lot of time, bro. Like, it was a really, really difficult job, bro. I had to do a lot of shit. And streaming is still harder, bro. If you go to work once 5 p.m. hits, you don't have to think about that at all. You could go home. People confuse hating your job with it being hard, bro. Just because you hate your job doesn't mean your job is hard.
Cloudy World. And recently we did a video about how I said that people believe that streaming is harder than working a real job. Now, as a content creator, I have my own opinions about it. Go check out the video link in the description. But today we're talking about Yusuf77 because he said something that I think is pretty ignorant. And honestly, I don't be trying to hate on a lot of streamers because one, I feel like streaming to me is one of the biggest visions coming true. I believe people being able to just turn up and enjoy themselves should be something you should be paid for. And I do believe they have a talent that is real in this new streaming internet era. But I'm gonna say a big but right now, these boys is tripping, man. Now, Yusuf7 said that streaming is harder than a 9 to 5 because you have to think about it constantly. But with a 9 to 5, you don't, until you clock in. And we're gonna talk about that. So I can agree that is a stress or a struggle of content creation, but that's content creation and creative direction as a whole. Creative directors will always have to do this. What do you think about the lawyers that literally get paid $300,000, $400,000, $500,000 that when they go home, they have to think about these serious cases? Their clients potentially getting a charge. Like, they have to think off the clock as well. So what about their stress? What about their struggle? And I know you're not gonna say that someone like Brian Steele is working less hard than Kai Cenat, because to me, I think those two have a really good argument for them actually. But as a whole, they have completely different struggles, but they have completely similar ways of having to handle that stress, which is constantly thinking about the content almost 24/7, because this content is defining of what's gonna happen. It is content, regardless of what you want to decide it as. Brian Steele saving Young Thug was millions of views, millions of dollars to hundreds, if not thousands of YouTube channels, if not tens of thousands of just news channels and platforms as a whole. So when we talk about this stuff overall, it's not about being as a joke, but it's to say that content is reality. Reality is content. Art is inspired by life, or life is inspired by art. It's just one or the other because that's just how it is. Now, I'm speaking on this because he says that people confuse hating your job with it being hard. Just because you hate your job doesn't mean your job is hard. And honestly, I can feel that, but I don't agree with the way he's speaking on this because he's speaking as if it's fact and law, and the reality is it's not. I can name a lot of jobs: construction, I can name hardware, I can name tradesmen, I can name electricians, I can literally go on and on and on. So when we understand what that means overall, all I'm saying is this: a lot of these streamers have this weird obsession with themselves and whataboutism. And I'm gonna explain what I mean by that. We're in an era where these streamers genuinely believe that whatever they do is the main focus. And I can understand having a job where you are the focus and you do put out that content, but it's a certain ego that some of these streamers are getting. I understand being a young adult who's touching a certain amount of money that you feel like you may never have thought was possible. And these people are touching probably 10 times what I'm doing on some real. But you have to realize that doesn't make you better than anyone, man. And I understand that to me that's a blessing and you should feel blessed in a way, but to take out these ways and these frustrations on the same community and to tell them that the way they live and the way they work is not something that is of metricable, weight, is not it. And when people say it's not that serious, it is that serious, because if an artist said this, you would be up in arms because you'd say we literally created and manufactured and helped build what your platform is off the individual. But when we literally switch to a literal, very similar carbon copy of a streaming service, we're trying to say that, oh, it's not that deep, when it's a arguably even more intimate form of how they express themselves. I feel like that's a little ignorant, in my opinion. Now, I respect streamers like Kai Cenat, AMP, RDC World, and I almost don't even want to consider them streamers because they began off of content like YouTube, and I really respect that because they inspired me to want to do it on some real. But it really hurts when you hear them say stuff that's ignorant, like when they speak about how Black Americans they feel like are ignorant, or when they speak about how they feel like we don't have a culture, or when they speak about how just the jobs and the life that we do as individuals, as hardworking, Americans, isn't something that's valued and isn't something that's serious and isn't something that's harder, then with all due honesty, for the majority of streamers, meaning more than 50%, not 80, not 90, not 95, I'm just saying majority, meaning more than 50%, majority of streamers just sit down. And that is facts. It's reality. And you can try to deny it, but flip through the streaming, and at least 5 out of the 10 you see, they will be sitting down. And that's not hate. That's respect for what your craft is, that you're able to entertain people without having to do those big movements. But I'm saying, let's call a spade, to say that these other individuals who have to literally use their body and put their physicality on the line for many, many, many occupations in the country are just, not harder than, sitting down. That's insane, bro. Like, bro was just saying anything at this point. Like, bro, he's just talking. Like, don't even know what he's saying right now, bro. Because when people say this streaming is harder than 9 to 5, bro, I can't agree, bro. I can't agree. Hey, it's this man, Mr. President, in the building real quick, bro. Hey, tell them boys real quick, bro. You feel like streaming is harder than working a job?
I don't think anything is really harder than anything in life. For you to achieve anything, you gotta put the work in. So, hey man, you do it with that information, what you will.
Real. Man, I can't lie, bro. To me, when people say this is like someone saying being a YouTuber is harder than working a job. Because to me, YouTube is a job, so that doesn't make sense. It's about perspective. It's about how serious or not serious that someone puts their craft in. And it's also about how much time and effort they put in their craft. This stuff isn't as simple as people try to make it out to be. And when they try to be ignorant with these type of things, all it does is make their character come into light. Because would you be saying this if you were a streamer with 5 followers? Would you be saying this if you were a streamer with 5 million? But you're in that in-between as someone who just started really eating. And look how fast you speak on people when you were just in the same situation a year ago, when you were just in the same situation a month ago. You see how this type of stuff is? And you see how people's character comes to light? Because it's not about the cheese. It's just about the freedom that the cheese gives someone to speak their mind. Cheese will never change someone. It's about allowing them to say and speak and do what they feel like with less and less and less repercussions. Because when you're in your nice chill crib without a boss on you, without anyone bothering you, with your own self-made cheese, you get a little bit more open and a little bit more honest about your opinions and your values and just who you are as a person. And that's not hate. That is just life. You've seen it forever and ever and ever. So I'm not going to be here trying to argue that. What I am going to do is ask you all, what do you think about all these situations as a whole? What do you think about just streaming and these artists and what people are saying overall? And give me your thoughts in the comment section. Cloudy World. And I appreciate y'all commenting, and subscribing. It helps a lot. It really gets things done. And we are gone.